Hey everybody, Small Town Atheist again. One of my recent articles, I ranted about some of the ridiculous things in the book of Genesis, and I blogged about it as well, so I guess I'm going to continue that trend with video here. By the way, if you haven't seen it, check out Eddie Goomba's video on the Light of Genesis. It's really great. I suppose this will be a continuing series. There are lots of crazy stories in the Judeo-Christian holy texts, and before I get started in this one, someone pointed out to me in a comment on that article I mentioned earlier that, look, you're just arguing fairy tales here. And yeah, I understand that, and I agree. And it's not like I'm arguing seriously for the conviction and arrest of the big bad wolf or something, you know. But a lot of people do take this stuff really seriously, and not just Genesis, what I'm going to be talking about today, and the creation account, which is, you know, they continuously try to mandate that in our schools, but several parts of the Bible as well. And I think it's time that, you know, we really seriously start questioning them on why they use this book as the bedrock of their beliefs and point out all the ridiculous bullshit in it. Some past contention had made me go back and read Genesis again, and the tirades that followed were the result of the preposterous stuff in here. Like, take the account of Adam and Eve in Eden. Either account, there's two different versions. Now, I'm not really going to spend a whole lot of time on the errors and whatnot. The creation myth alone could fill up a whole video on its own. You can check out skepticsannotatedbible.com for the breakdown of absurdities and atrocities and contradictions and whatnot. I'll probably be focused more on the philosophical issues, and like I said before, I know it's a little like trying to justify the actions of Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's still an amusing exercise to me. So we have this scene painted for us that a loving creator, you know, made everything, including people. But he seems to be a bit of, a rather inept creator. First, he makes one man, and after he parades all of the animals and stuff around him, the man doesn't want to mate with any of them, so he reluctantly, I suppose, makes a female counterpart. But he places what some would consider to be the reason for everything bad, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right there in the garden with them. This tree is not only within reach of the humans, who aren't supposed to touch it, and who, I might add, have no knowledge of good and evil. The tree also bears fruit, and it also bears edible fruit. So, you know, we could easily fix the story right now by, you know, putting the tree, say, on the other side of the planet, or, you know, making it not bear fruit, or not bear fruit that the humans could eat, you know. So anyway, the snake, who I suppose is either created by God, or perhaps is God, tells the humans that they won't die on the day that they eat the fruit, like their God said that they would. And indeed, and I'm quoting here, will be as gods, knowing good from evil. So they'll have the same knowledge of good and evil that their creator supposedly has. Now the problem with this whole thing is that we have, you know, here we have a loving creator who makes people without the innate ability to understand good from bad. As if, you know, making them lacking any sort of knowledge like that somehow makes them perfect. It's ignorant bliss personified. What's worse is that when the created do something bad, they get punished for it, and not any sort of reasonable punishment, but damnation for the whole of their kind. Look, I realize that this is symbolic, and, you know, there's a lot that goes into into understanding the mindset of people who write ancient texts and the style of composition in those days and how you go about reading it and so on and so forth. But for those of you who actually take this stuff seriously, you know, the Kent Hovens and the Kent Hams of the world, I mean, this first book sets the scene for the rest of the Bible, does it not? I mean, it introduces characters, and it introduces their personalities, and already we have a God who isn't all-knowing and has the temper of a 3-year-old. You know, it's crazy. And one more thing, the tree of knowledge of good and evil supposedly gave humanity the same knowledge of good and evil that the gods have. Well, does that mean that the standard for morality is God's morality, as we see in the subsequent books of the Bible? You know, the rape and murder and genocide and incest and all that. That's supposed to be the good. You know, it's crap. It's quite obviously a fairy tale, and for anyone to take it seriously is just ridiculous.
And I said, God damn that Bible pushing man. God damn.